Hi, good evening. I'm Soraya Mian. This is Awani Tonight. Malaysia might soon make stalking a crime. And a new sales tax will come into effect next January. Can it help level the playing field? More on that coming up. Malaysia is seeking to make stalking a crime. The government today proposed amendments to the Penal Code, which allows those convicted of the offence to liable to imprisonment of not more than 3 years, a fine, or both.
Under the Penal Code Amendment Act 2022, a new Section 507A will be created to list stalking as a crime. Meanwhile, amendments were also proposed under the Criminal Procedure Code CPC to allow the courts to issue an order against a suspected offender under investigation to protect victims from being further harassed. Both bills were tabled for the first reading by Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister's Department in charge of Parliament and Law, Datuk Mas Ermiati Samsudin, today. She said the bills would be read and passed at the next Parliament meeting later in October this year.
The Special Committee on Corruption, JKMR, suggests for the establishment of an anti-corruption court in the country. Its chairman, Tan Sri Rais Yatim, says this was necessary in order to improve the public's perception of the government's efforts to fight corruption.
Kepakaran juga kejituan mahkamah itu khusus mengenai rasuah. Ini berkait langsung dengan kedudukan Malaysia pada hari ini yang didapati kian lama kian menurun persepsinya. Misalnya kita berada di tahap 62 dari global punya perhatian. Justru perlu diambil kira.
Rais explained how the establishment of the institution is specifically different from the Sessions Court, High Court, Court of Appeal and Federal Court. It must involve judges who have expertise in corruption crimes and cannot be replaced arbitrarily. The proposal was presented in the 2020 JKMR Annual Report Book, which was submitted to the Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob at the Parliament building today.
Following a series of personal data breaches in the country, amendments to the Personal Data Protection Act 2010, Act 709, are expected to be tabled in the next Dewan Rakyat sitting in October. Communications and Multimedia Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa says the draft of the proposed amendments were submitted to the Attorney General's chambers in June.
Once approved by the AGC, Anwar says a memorandum will be tabled to the Cabinet. The proposed amendments include the compulsory appointment of a data protection officer and the requirement for data processors to comply with the safety principles under Act 709. It also involves introducing a data breach notification to mandate all data breaches to be reported to the Data Protection Commission within 72 hours. Earlier this year, reports revealed that the official records of 22.5 million Malaysians from the National Registration Department were for sale on a database marketplace forum.
According to the government, there is no need to declare a climate emergency just yet. Minister of Environment and Water, Datuk Sri Tuan Ibrahim Tuan Man, says authorities have already rolled out several initiatives to combat effects of climate change.
He said Malaysia has given its commitment to reduce the intensity of greenhouse gas emissions, as well as reaching net zero emissions by 2050. The Dewan Rakyat was told that the government would closely monitor all programs related to mitigation to ensure there are no significant increase in temperatures. Malaysia aims to implement a program for all government vehicles to go green by 2030 and maintain forested area coverage of above 50%. The country also hopes to achieve zero waste being sent to landfills and increase Malaysia's recycling rate to 40% by 2025.
A total of 1,461 people applied to withdraw from the Malaysian My Second Home MM2H program between September 2021 until June this year. However, Home Minister Datuk Sri Hamzah Zainuddin assured their withdrawals were not due to new conditions set by the government.
Hamzah explained how existing MM2H participants are not subjected to the new conditions except the new pass renewal period, processing fee and 500 ringgit renewal fee. He said the participants' withdrawals were mainly due to their inability to commit to the program, personal reasons as well as the COVID-19 pandemic's affecting their finances. There are currently 53,356 active MM2H and Silver Hair Program pass holders, with 267 new MM2H applications. Last August, the government announced new conditions for participants of the program, which includes 1.5 million ringgit in liquid assets, 40,000 ringgit monthly offshore income, 1 million ringgit in a Malaysian fixed deposit, and an additional 50,000 ringgit per dependent. The new conditions were a cause for concern to some, including from the Johor Sultan Ibrahim Sultan Iskandar, who warned they may frighten off investors and dent the country's revenues.
The country's export ban on chicken is expected to end on August 31st. The Agriculture and Food Industries Minister, Datuk Seri Dr. Ronald Kiandi, said the government is currently reviewing the temporary measure until the production and price of chicken fully stabilizes.
The government earlier banned the export of up to 3.6 million chickens from June 1st in its effort to tackle the shortage of chicken supplies and rising chicken prices. The ban was partially lifted in mid-June to allow poultry importers in Singapore to resume bringing in live kampung and black chickens. Kiandi said the government has also allocated 1.1 billion ringgit as subsidies for local chicken breeders beginning February 5th till August 31st. He noted while the government may also do away with ceiling price by August 31st, many traders are selling below the current ceiling price for chicken, pegged at 9 ringgit and 40 cents per kg.
Time for a quick break. Stay with us.
COVID-19 memperlihatkan kepada kita betapa pantasnya adaptasi teknologi di kalangan PKS kita. Niaga Awani dan Unified Business akan menyelami perjalanan kebangkitan semula PKS kita melalui segmen Jiwa SME setiap Selasa dan Khamis untuk inspirasi anda.
Transformasikan perniagaan dengan Unified Business, rakan digital pilihan anda. Hubungi kami sekarang dan jimat sehingga 50%. Jom Unified Business.
Welcome back. The Dewan Rakyat today passed a new bill seeking to impose a 10% sales tax on imported low-valued goods bought online. How can this new tax, expected to be implemented in January 2023, help level the playing field for local manufacturers? To help us understand the amendments and its impact, we speak to Farah Rosli from EY.
How this will impact the business and the society out there isn't that this will be in a way bringing level playing field because in the past with this exemption, because in the past it was exempted, local manufacturers selling these goods will have to have sales tax of 10%, whilst goods imported is exempted. So now from 1st January 23, whether the goods is being imported or being brought online or imported through online channel, or whether it is being supplied locally from a local manufacturer, there will be this 10% sales tax. So in a way, it is actually bringing the same equitable sales tax treatment to both imported low-value goods as well as low-value goods locally available in Malaysia.
With the new tax, does this mean consumers will soon have to pay more for goods bought online?
Naturally, with additional tax borne on these goods that's being imported, the cost may be passed down to consumers. So there may be some impact on price being increased because there is a tax cost associated to these imported low-value goods from 1st January 23.
Farah also stresses the importance of having ample time to prepare stakeholders and consumers for the new taxation.
Knowledge, sharing of information, guidance or guidelines in terms of what sellers needs to do or what taxpayers need to do. I think that's important, and the guidance should be given as early as possible, as well as with clarity, as well as I would say consultation sessions with the relevant stakeholders, with the public, with the industry, with businesses, with taxpayers. That would be very important, so that any issues that they may have can be escalated, can be raised, and can be addressed. And when there are solutions to the issues raised, for example, how do we register? How long is the process to register? How do you actually collect the sales tax and the timeline to remit these taxes to the authorities? All this needs to be made up clear and being informed upfront.
On to international news. China launched live-fire military drills in 6 areas surrounding Taiwan, a day after U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited the island. China's state broadcaster CCTV says the drills will include live firing on the waters and airspace surrounding Taiwan, set to end on Sunday.
Taiwan officials have said the drills invade their territorial space and violate United Nations rules. They also see the drills as a direct challenge to free air and sea navigation. Noting that China is conducting drills on the busiest international waterways and aviation routes, the ruling Democratic Progressive Party calls it irresponsible and illegitimate behavior. Websites of the Defense and Foreign Ministries, as well as the Presidential Office, were also reportedly attacked by hackers.
The 55th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting was overshadowed by developments in Taiwan following U.S. Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit. The regional bloc warned of a risk of volatility caused by tensions in the Taiwan Strait.
Meanwhile, ASEAN Chair Cambodia urged all sides to de-escalate tension over Taiwan. It stands ready to play a constructive role in facilitating peaceful dialogue between all parties. The annual meeting in Phnom Penh of the 10-nation bloc saw countries including China and the U.S. attending. Southeast Asian countries are cautious, trying to balance relations between China and the U.S., wary of getting in between the superpowers, aside from towing the line of a non-interference policy.
After her high-profile trip to Taiwan, U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was in the South Korean capital, Seoul. She made a visit to the heavily fortified demilitarized zone with nuclear-armed North.
Pelosi also met National Assembly person Kim Jin-pyo and other senior members of parliament to discuss topics of regional security and economic cooperation. Kim said he and Pelosi shared concerns about North Korea's increasing nuclear threats. The two agreed to support South Korea's push to establish denuclearization and peace on the Korean peninsula. Pelosi then visited an inter-Korean border area jointly controlled by the American-led UN Command and North Korea. She is scheduled to fly to Japan later on Thursday for the final leg of her Asia trip.
That's all on the show tonight. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Soraya Mia, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Peningkatan harga barangan yang dipengaruhi oleh pelbagai faktor mengakibatkan Malaysia juga terpaksa berdepan dengan tempias tersebut.
PDRM mengesahkan tidak menerima sebarang laporan penculikan dan juga penjualan organ kanak-kanak di negara jiran.
Filem Mat Kilau ini boleh saja dianggap biopik terhebat alaf ini.
Tiga lelaki yang menjalankan kerja pengubahsuaian rumah bekas pembaca berita Zalina Azman di Shah Alam didapati tidak mempunyai kait